Hi, welcome to our channel. Welcome to Forever Young RC. Have you ever wondered just how I get the right shock springs and right shock setup for these crawlers? With a little math, you can get it done, and it's pretty simple. Now here, I have this boat anchor, the first one I've ever bought. Actually, it's my Wraith first gen. I really love it. I have actually done a lot to this, rearranged the battery mount. I've got Curry axles on it with four-wheel steering, Reefs servos in the front and in the back. It has a metal body all around. I will say the only drawback to these are working on them. Working on them can kind of be a pain. Once you learn your way through the vehicle, it's just fine. Now, when I bought this years and years ago, maybe 10 years ago, I didn't realize that you bought these as a rock bouncer. I wanted a crawler, and I was looking at this vehicle and it looked like a crawler to me. So I said, I can take that, take the rock bouncer part out of it, take that type of performance out of it, and put a crawler performance in it. What I had on here at first, I've extended this to accept 100mm shocks. These are some of the first aftermarket shocks that I bought. Let me wipe the slime off of it right there, the grease and or the oil. These RC four-wheel drive King shocks they're pretty popular because they feel very well built. However, they leak like a sieve. No matter what I've ever done, I can't get these to stop leaking. And so finally I was done with them. And I wanted to start moving more towards getting some negative droop setup shocks. Hence the Desert Lizards, what I have on here. However, the Desert Lizards, they weren't quite 110mm. They were not really as long as I needed them to be because, as you can see with this, I don't have portals on here, and this is a big chunk sticking down. These were some of the first Curry axles out that I bought. They were crazy expensive, and hey, the more money we spend on something, the better, right? Well, no. I want to get back to putting some longer shocks on here. And I'm not necessarily going to put a droop setup in the shocks because I'm going to start venturing back into, well, what happens when you just put the exact correct spring on there? The truck settles to where you need it to be every time. You still have positive and negative movement, meaning, you know, the truck is not just dropped down to the bottom all the time. Let's face it, when we're crawling, we're not 100% going up hills all the time. To get the most performance out of your shocks, we need movement on the top and on the bottom. So that's what I'm going to attempt to redo in this truck. So I'm going to pull these Desert Lizards off. And what I do have are some of these new shocks that popped up on Amazon, 2Mod. They look like they're built pretty good. Ideally, you would put the Traxxas Big Bore rebuild kit in it. Would fit right in this, but I don't have that today. And this comes right out of the box. I mean, they feel really good. They feel like they would suit this rig really good. But what we really want to know is get a close indication of the springs on this, what the spring rate's going to be. You take the spring off, you put it on a scale, measure the spring, minus 10mm off of that, and you put the caliper on top and you go down until the bottom touches. You read that spring rate. They measured these springs with a 10mm of force when they are measuring all the springs. I'm going to show you how to do that. Now, it's not down, you know, to the T. You want all four of your shocks totaling up to about half the weight of your vehicle. Now, I did weigh this vehicle, and I'm going to put it up right now. It is a heavy vehicle. This vehicle converted into pounds is 8.5 pounds, but that's to be expected. There's a lot of metal on here, extra servo. I do not have great distribution weight from the front to the back or back to the front. This vehicle still climbs really well. We're going to take the spring off this. I'm going to show you how to get the measurement on a spring rate because it feels like these will be pretty good. And we're going to find that out right now. All right, we're going to take this 2Mod spring off. You know, these shocks I think were like 25 bucks on Amazon. So if this turns out to be a good working shock, hey, That's some good value right there. And I mean, you know, these things, they feel good, because here is where you get, right in this seal pack is where you get all your leaking from, is when that seal pack is not tight enough and it doesn't seal right, and the vehicle's on an angle and the rod is pushing sideways and going in and out, and it'll start leaking on the other side. But as I'm moving this back and forth, as you see, I mean, there's minimal movement right there, so that's good. And I haven't even taken these jokers apart. So let's do what we're going to do with this spring. We're going to take this spring, going to take the overall measurement. The measurement, you don't want to put any force, but you don't want any play in there. About 84 millimeters, that's what we're going to call it. So minus 10, we're going to be 74 millimeters. 74, right about there, good. I'm just kind of getting approximate because it's not an exact science. So we're going to measure this spring. I'm going to put this spring on here. I'm going to zero it out. Then I'm going to take this and stick it down in the middle and just go until the bottom of this hits the bottom of the scale. And that's where, you know, you're not going to be exact. So you just want it touching, but you can get close enough. So here's what we're going to do. Put it down in here, touching right about there. I'm going to give it a couple. It looks like it's registering, if you can see the scale, about 1 pound. So we're going to say that's a 1 pound spring. I'm going to add those up. Obviously, that's going to be 4 pounds. My Wraith is 8.5 pounds, 8.5 pounds. So this is right at or just shy of half the weight of that vehicle. And this all depends on sprung weight and unsprung weight, but I know the top of that vehicle is pretty heavy. So I think this is going to be a pretty good spring rate to put on that Wraith, because when I get this put on there and I set the truck down, I want it just to settle in about halfway, where the links are nice and straight and everything's nice and straight, so where it has positive and negative travel. Okay, so what I'm going to do, and I usually don't do this, I never take a spring right out of the package and put it on a vehicle. But since I don't have the rebuild kit yet, I think that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to put this back on, put the spring cup back on. I'm going to get these on the vehicle and come back, let you guys see what it looks like. All right, I'm back with you in detriment of continuity. Another shirt, another day, but who's watching? Let's see what I got going on. Okay. Yes, these shocks feel really good. That was the main goal of this, but every time you start tearing into something, it's hard not to go ahead and get into other things. So I've got it all programmed up, but let's look at what we were gonna look at first. Mainly the shock springs, see if it gets us where we want it. Now I'm gonna pull it up, let the vehicle weight settle. It's just a little bit, it settles just a little bit. I would like it to be more right about there, which means the springs are, it does settle some, which is good, but it's not quite where I wanted. The springs are 1 pound each, so that equals 4 pounds. This vehicle, 8.5 to 9 pounds. I thought that would be good to go, so I guess I need to go with a little bit less of spring rate than I have on here, but for now, it's okay with me, and I think it's going to do very well. Let's get this thing wrapped up, get it outside, because it's been a while since I've ran this. Let's see how it runs. All right, let's use this 4-wheel steering. I'll go on the obstacles that I can go on out here. Now this vehicle is a little more jumpy than I'd like it to be. Whether that be the axles or just the, I'm not sure what part it is. So the question is, would I buy these $25 Amazon shocks again? The answer is unequivocally yes. They're cheap, they're made very well, machined very well, and they haven't leaked on me yet. However, I will be putting a Traxxas big bore kit in them just to make them bulletproof. Please don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Go check this other video out.